national security. It is
The co-founder of the project, writing in Politico, quote, Democrats are seen as weak, whereas Republicans are seen as strong. Rylan Hollyhand is co-chair of the RNC Youth Advisory Council and says Democrats needed a study to tell us what we already knew.
Any day the Democrat Party wants to waste $20 million is a good day for us over at the RNC. I mean, the Democrat Party bet against masculinity. They're losing that bet, and they're also on track to lose the midterms. They simply told young men to sit down, shut up, and check their privilege so they can't act surprised when we check out of their party. I'll tell you this, if the DNC wants to understand young men, they don't need a $20 million study, Todd. They just need a mirror, because you can't mock manhood for a decade and then wonder why young men are walking away.
There's a new woke alert from Consumers Research. Chris Woodward reports it names 5 big-name companies.
The Woke Alert puts a spotlight on the business policies of Delta, Apple, Costco, Microsoft, and Sephora. Will Hild of Consumers Research says they're all doubling down on DEI.
If you go to those companies' pages, they have not backed off of those programs at all. They are still continuing to focus on racial and sexual bean counting when it comes to everything from their workforce to their suppliers.
AFN reached out to Delta, Apple, Costco, Microsoft, and Sephora for comment, but did not receive a response. Meanwhile, Consumers Research will continue to keep tabs on these businesses.
DEI is basically discriminating against people on the basis of their race or their sex. So it's kind of stunning in the new legal environment with the Trump White House basically targeting companies that are engaging in this kind of behavior, that these companies don't seem to care and are doubling down. So we're calling them out because, it's a new day. The American people voted for the opposite of this. They want this stuff to end. And so companies that think they're going to get away with doubling down on it, I think they've got another thing coming.
Chris Woodward.
Global shares are mostly higher after Wall Street's big recent rally lost some momentum. More news online at afn.net and download the AFN mobile app for your Apple or Android device. I'm Rusty Pugh.
The political climate in America has changed. We've been given a reprieve, and we have to work together to take advantage of that momentum and effect even more cultural and spiritual change. We can rebuild America. The American Family Association is working to do just that. And when you join with your support, it helps maximize the impact. As our thanks, we'll give you a DVD of biblical financial advice from Rob West called Biblical Stewardship. Please visit afa.net and get started today.
Welcome to Today's Issues, offering a Christian response to the issues of the day. Here's your host, Tim Wildman, President of the American Family Association.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. Today is Thursday, June the 5th, 2025. I'm Tim Wildman with Ed. Ed's not here. Fred Jackson's here. Good morning, Fred.
It's close. Ed, Fred,
Ed.
Pretty close.
Yes.
Pretty close. Good to
Good morning. Good morning, Chris Woodward.
Good morning.
And in Kansas City is our good friend Ray Pritchard. Good morning, Ray.
Hey, Tim. How you doing this morning?
Doing good. Summertime is here, isn't it?
Tis.
Yeah. Hi, you riding that bike this afternoon?
I'm thinking about it. We had a lot of rain, but the rain is gone. This, I hadn't been so busy, but I think it's time to get on my bicycle again,
Now, you used to do that religiously, right? I mean,
Yes, I did.
many years.
Yes, I did. And then the tumult of the last couple of years and some health challenges and stuff. You know what I'm trying to do now, Tim? I'm trying to walk 10,000 steps a day. And I've got my Peloton app, and I got my Fitbit, and I got my Weight Watchers.
Right there with you.
I'm on about a 3-week string of 10,000 steps a day.
Wow. Good for you. What do you get out and walk down the street and back or something?
Oh, yeah. And with my dog, I get Sadie, and if I don't get her, she comes to get me.
You need to
And
get
like
steps
this
in.
morning, she was waiting for me. She was laying on the rug when I came out of the bathroom because it meant, come on, Dad, it's time to go for a walk. So
That's funny how dogs have that intuition of what's going to happen next or what to anticipate or, huh?
Yeah.
So
That's great.
She was not going to leave me alone until I took her on the walk. You know, she was just going to come and come.
Yep.
We went out and did about 4,000 steps this morning, and
Okay.
yeah.
So you only got 6 more to go.
got
6,000 more to go today.
Got about 6,000 more to go.
I'm right there. I'm actually right there with you. Yeah.
So you know what I'm talking
Oh yeah.
about, Chris?
Yeah. The medical professional I see for my Healthy You recommends that I get up and walk more.
Yeah, my little dog. I've mentioned before. I got 11-pound Maltese named Champ, and we named him that because small dog. We wanted to have a big name, right? So at night, about Alice and I, we go out. We usually go on our patio. So, but anyway, at night he knows it's time for his treat.
Okay.
He has give him a little treat. It's good for his dental, right?
Okay.
But it must be scrumptious because we call him a crackhead because he goes in the house and he starts flipping on the carpet, looking at me, and he'll give me about, I don't know, a minute, maybe 2 to do what I need to do if I need to change clothes or whatever like that. But then he looks at me and he starts barking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
Yep.
He didn't bark for much, but that treat is like, if you don't give me that in the next...
Come on, Dad. Come on.
Yeah, if you don't give me that in the next 2 minutes, I don't know, I might bite you. I don't know, but I'm going to freak out. But anyway, it's just funny to watch how dogs react to different situations and how they anticipate. It's almost like they're nonverbal humans, you know what I'm saying, in many ways.
Do you ever with your dog think she understands, or they know what we're saying?
It's a he, and he knows he's a male.
He knows.
Yeah.
He's very clear.
He's very clear.
No gender confusion.
There's no gender confusion with my dog. Go ahead, though. What were you going to ask?
Well, sometimes Marlene and I will be sitting there talking, and we'll look at Sadie, and she's reacting as if she understands every word we're saying.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. There's truth to that. I mean, I don't know how to explain it, but dog owners who've had dogs had one dog or, the same dog for a number of years, they understand. It's just, they just have this, I don't know what it is, sixth sense bonding. I don't know what you would call it. I don't think it's a spiritual gift in the Bible, but
It's a gift.
It's a gift. It's a gift. All right, Chris, what's happening this morning?
Tis the season for landmark Supreme Court rulings.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got 2 big ones right here.
Did they announce this morning?
Yes.
Yes.
Just before we came on the show here, and we have posted this on AFN.net. I've shared the link to this on our Today's Issues Facebook page. We'll begin with this one. A unanimous Supreme Court made it easier today to bring lawsuits over so-called reverse discrimination, siding with an Ohio woman who claims that she did not get a job and was then demoted because she is straight. The justice's ruling today affects lawsuits in about half the states and the District of Columbia, where until now, courts had set a higher bar when members of a majority group, including those who are white and heterosexual, sue for discrimination under federal law. Here's the juicy part of this story, Tim. Mr. President, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, a Biden nominee, wrote for the Supreme Court that federal civil rights law draws no distinction between members of a majority and a minority group.
Wow, what was the ruling?
Unanimous.
Unanimous. This is shocking, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Shocking that you have the decision written by Ketanji Brown Jackson, who is of the far, far left segment.
KBJ is what I call it.
Yes, of the Supreme Court. But it's amazing what she wrote. By establishing, this is her part of her writing, by establishing the same protections for every individual without regard to that individual's membership in a minority or majority group, Congress left no room for courts to impose special requirements on majority group plaintiffs alone. This is amazing. This involves Marlene Ames. She worked for the Ohio Department of Youth Services for more than 20 years. She contended she was passed over for a promotion and then demoted because she is heterosexual. Both the jobs she sought and the one she had upheld was given to LGBTQ people. So this is a big, big decision today.
And 9-0.
Yeah, and 9-0.
The odds of that happening are pretty slim.
Yeah.
On any case.
Yeah. So, if you're a employee and you feel like, or you can prove that you were discriminated against because of your, I guess
you're a heterosexual. You're part of a majority group,
right? And they say, and you like this woman here. That will make these corporations and employers think twice.
Absolutely.
About DEI hires.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? If they know that they can, if they know they pass somebody over because they are a heterosexual or because they are white or they are male or female or whatever the case may be, you know, they're gonna think twice about their hiring practice.
Well, this should put the nail in the coffin for affirmative action programs.
Yes.
This should do it.
For any kind.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that was Asian students that went to the Supreme Court last year and got a ruling that struck down affirmative action in college.
What do you think about all this, Ray?
Well, it's huge, and the point's already been made. In today's sharply divided, ideological world in which we all live, and the Supreme Court's part of that. How often do you get a 9-0 decision on such a hot button issue as this? And to think that, say her name again. You called her KBJ. Say the
Ketanji Brown Jackson.
She's the newest member of the Supreme Court.
Yeah. To think they gave it to her and she wrote it, and you didn't even have evidently caveats from Justice Thomas or anybody else. This is a huge win for religious liberty.
Now who did she work for?
She worked for the Ohio Department of Youth Services for more than 20 years.
And she claimed what now exactly?
Well, she claimed she didn't get jobs and that she was demoted.
Because she was a heterosexual.
Right.
Because and the jobs were given to LGBT.
Her supervisors were members of the LGBT.
Okay, well, that wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. That was an ADF case, which ADF, they're batting about, I don't know.
Alliance Defending Freedom.
Yeah, Alliance Defending Freedom has a very good track record at the Supreme Court.
Next story, Chris.
Another law firm that has a really good track record at the U.S. Supreme Court is the Beckett Law Firm. And I say that today because they notched another win when the Supreme Court sided with Catholic Charities in a religious rights case over unemployment taxes. Again, in a story you can find on our website, afn.net. The unanimous ruling comes in a case filed by the Catholic Charities Bureau, which says the state of Wisconsin violated the First Amendment's religious freedom guarantee when it required the organization to pay the tax while exempting other faith groups. I've got some audio here from Shannon Bream.
9-0 again?
Another 9-0.
Yeah, they're just singing Kumbaya down there at the Supreme Court, aren't they?
Well, as of today, there are still some rulings, and I'll get to that in a moment after this soundbite. To help provide a little more context than I just did for the Catholic Charities case I'm talking about here, let's play Fox News legal contributor Shannon Bream, clip 12.
This Catholic charity and its sub-entities that are about religious work, they were told by the Wisconsin state officials, first of all, that they couldn't get this tax break going to other people, other organizations. And then they lost at the Wisconsin Supreme Court. So it lands at the Supreme Court, and unanimously, the court has decided in favor of those Catholic charities. They should also be able to access that tax benefit. The court says it's fundamental to our constitutional order that the government is neutral when it comes to religious entities. They go on to say this. They say there may be some hard calls to make in policing that rule, but this is not one of them. They say in this case, when the government distinguishes among religions based on theological differences, it imposes a preference that must satisfy the highest judicial scrutiny. And they said that wasn't done in this case. So essentially the case goes back down, but it's a win for these Catholic charity groups. And remember, just days ago, a frustrating loss for a group of Catholic schools that were trying to get into the charter system. That ended in a 4-4 tie, that decision, because Justice Barrett recused. And they've lost at the lower level, meaning they lost the case. So a win for some of those Catholic groups today.
Now, I bring this up from time to time on the show. I know.
Excuse me if I interrupt you. Just to be clear, because I'm the basic. What's the three-sentence? What happened here that made them go to court?
Yeah,
Catholic charities.
The Supreme Court said that a Catholic charity does not have to pay Wisconsin unemployment taxes, while other people were required to pay into things.
what happened here is the state of Wisconsin went after this particular group. This particular Catholic group is in the helping people with disabilities.
Okay.
All right. They take a lot of public funding.
Okay.
This was the argument from Wisconsin. They take a lot of public funding, and they also hire people who aren't Catholics or have no religion at all.
Okay.
So the state of Wisconsin was arguing, you're more like a totally non-religious entity.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, you should have to pay taxes.
Okay.
Now, here's the other thing that Wisconsin argued, and this is a financial argument. They're afraid now, the state of Wisconsin, that if, let's say, you have a Catholic hospital or a Baptist hospital, that they will argue we don't have to pay unemployment taxes because we have certain religious beliefs. And of course, if you start giving employers like that, they don't have to pay unemployment insurance. The state is arguing that makes it very tough on us in our unemployment insurance program. But the Supreme Court took down their system today.
What a day for a conservative constitution.
The state of Mexico had launched a lawsuit against firearm manufacturers. To blame for gun violence. The United States Supreme Court this morning blocked firearms manufacturers in this case. So Mexico would.
Yes. They came here to sue our gun makers for gun violence in Mexico.
That's not going to work.
No, but the problem we have with illegal drugs coming across the Mexican border, that's like the pot calling the kettle black. That's
Yes. Yes.
Good night.
Another unanimous decision.
Wow. Wow.
They must have had a party or something.
Now, one big Supreme Court case that we're still watching for is whether or not have an impact on every Tennessee is among the many states that says we don't want kids under the age of 18 getting surgeries and cross-sex hormones and things like that, so we're going to ban it. And the Biden administration took Tennessee to court over that. We'll see how the Supreme Court rules. At some point later this month, if I had to guess, it'll be on a Friday.